Well, our culture's most popular pastime, as we know, is complaining, especially about stress. You know, the idea of stress, as we know it today, wasn't invented in the English language until the 1930s. Before that, it's fair to say that nobody ever complained about their stress because the concept didn't really exist. That's not to say that people didn't feel stress or didn't lead stressful lives. It's just to say that they simply lived those lives and dealt with the strain without feeling the need to put a label on it and talk about it incessantly. These days, though by most measures we have easier lives, we love nothing more than to talk about our difficulties. We're so burned out. We have so much anxiety, so much stress. Everything is so hard. And we need to talk about this to our friends, our families, to strangers on the internet, to counselors and therapists. I mean, we've got armies of people we've set up to just complain to them about how hard our lives are. We have to vomit our feelings of being overburdened onto everyone, everywhere, all the time. This is, without question, the modern world's favorite hobby. Now, our second favorite hobby is to come up with trendy new labels for common human experiences. So we like to take things that people have always done, or always felt, or always said, and invent a term to describe it, so that we can pretend that this universal experience is somehow novel. So, for example, recently I came across the term flexitarian to describe people who eat both vegetables and meat. This is a diet strategy shared by 99% of the human civilization since the dawn of civilization, but now the flexitarian can pretend that he's reinvented the wheel by giving this exceedingly normal thing a brand new name. In fact, I'm surprised we haven't come up with a new name for wheels so that we can pretend that we actually did reinvent them. Maybe we'll get around to that eventually, as we seem to specialize in the art of inventing things that were already invented. But what happens when these two popular pastimes are combined? What if we could whine about our stressful lives while also inventing a new label for something people have always done? What if we could do both? That would be the modern dream. That's the holy grail. And that's what brings us to the hot new trend called quiet quitting. Now, the media tells us that quiet quitting is a revolutionary concept, quickly gaining traction in society, and especially in the workplace. The headlines are full of references to this practice. Here's some samples of the headlines. Quiet quitting is a trend taking over TikTok and your workplace. Everyone is talking about quiet quitting, but is it a good idea? 3 millennials on their experience of quiet quitting. What is quiet quitting and why are employees doing it? An explainer. The Washington Post provides more details. It says, quiet quitting is taking social media by storm, but you might not have noticed. The term is a bit of a misnomer because quiet quitters aren't walking away from their jobs. Instead, they're renouncing hustle culture, quitting the idea of going above and beyond at work, as TikTok user Zaid Lepin, I see what he did there, said in a July post that has amassed more than 3 million views and helped popularize the phrase. The trend is resonating strongly with those Gen Z and millennial workers fighting to rewrite the rules of the workplace. Signs of quiet quitting look like classic indicators of diminished motivation and low engagement, according to Joe Grasso, Senior Director of Workplace Transformation at Lyra Health. That might be decreased productivity or withdrawing from the team, limiting communication and interaction to only what's required, Grasso said. It could manifest as employee cynicism or apathy about work, or staying silent rather than sharing input. Now, the article goes on to explain that quiet quitting is the result of, quote, unprecedented employee burnout. People are feeling more burned out and overworked than ever before, allegedly. And this has led to the quiet quitting trend wherein employees, in defiance of something called hustle culture, decide to go to work but put in less effort. They'll do only the bare minimum and no more. They'll work, but they won't work hard. As mentioned, this is a major topic of conversation on TikTok, especially where people are too burned out to do their jobs, but not too burned out to record TikTok videos talking about how burned out they are. So here's one viral TikTok video giving more details about this revolutionary new concept.
Everybody's talking about quiet quitting and how it's the new negative talent crisis. I think it's a good thing. The youngest generations at work are rejecting the idea of hustle culture or framing your entire life around some dream job. They're rejecting putting their mental health below their performance goals. With quiet quitting, you're doing what you're paid for and not more. And it's about setting boundaries around what you're willing to do. If the inflation rate is 8.5% and you get a 1% raise, what do employers expect? I see this as a healthy evolution that can actually equalize the employee-employer relationship more. Do you think quiet quitting is a good thing? Let me know.
Okay. So a few points here. First of all, doing the bare minimum at work is not some unique, quirky new approach to life. We don't need a label for it. We already had a label. It's called lazy. And lazy people have always existed. In fact, they made a movie called Office Space over 20 years ago about exactly this idea. I think this is my second Office Space reference in as many shows. The protagonist feels drained by his soul-sucking office job and decides to stop trying, and hilarity ensues. But Office Space didn't invent anything either. In fact, what makes the movie funny is that it's relatable. Everybody knows what it's like to be fed up with your job, and to be fed up with other various mundane aspects of your life. Everybody has fantasized about adopting an I don't give a damn attitude. Everyone has especially fantasized about smashing office appliances with a baseball bat, as they do in that film. The point is that millennials and Gen Z aren't sparking a revolution here. They're experiencing laziness. The only difference is that they're narcissistic enough to think they invented it. Second, if you want to do the bare minimum, that's fine, okay? That's mediocrity. And if you want to live a mediocre life, you're welcome to it. Many people before you have chosen that path, and many people after you will do the same. That's why it's mediocrity. Just don't pretend that you're putting in less of an effort at your jobs so that you can invest more of your time into more enriching pursuits and passions. Now, that may be what a very small fraction of the quiet quitters do, but it's not how it works for the vast majority. As we discussed last week, most people who give themselves more free time end up spending all of that extra spare time staring at their phones or watching Netflix. Now, if you're actually going to take all the free time, take all the extra energy you have now because you are quiet quitting, and go climb Mount Everest or start a side business or even take painting classes or something, then okay. You are reinvesting your time and energy into another pursuit that to you is more worthwhile. But that is just simply not what most people do or are going to do. And we should be honest about that. And you should be honest with yourself. And if you're doing the bare minimum at work, refusing to go above and beyond, and not pursuing anything else notable with your life, then you will be unsuccessful and, again, mediocre. That's who you're going to be. That's what your life is going to be. You will not flourish financially or in any other way. You're going to leave little mark on the world. You'll achieve nothing of note. That is going to be your life. Now, the luxury of the modern world does provide people with the unprecedented option of coasting by on the bare minimum if they want, expending very little energy. This was not a lifestyle available to most people for most of history. Now it is available. You can take advantage of that opportunity, and you can if you want, but it does come with a price. Nothing is free. Even laziness is not free. Especially laziness is not free. Not in this life. Being lazy will extract a payment from you, whether you like it or not. And what you are giving up in exchange for ease of life is any chance of doing anything notable, interesting, or great with your life. Because the notable, interesting, and great things are done by people who give more of themselves than is required. Great lives are led by those who look for ways to give more, not less. This is also true just in the microcosm of the workplace. For the most part, the people who succeed, are the ones who are giving more. So you're just doing exactly what you need to. The guy next to you is doing a lot more than he needs to. He's probably going to be more successful than you. And then when he is, you're going to whine about it and say, oh, it's not fair. This isn't fair. Actually, it's totally fair. Now, it's possible that there could be someone who's awarded with success even though they didn't earn it and you did. That kind of unfairness really does happen. But probably that's not the case. Probably that's a story you're telling yourself to make yourself feel better. Probably that person earned it and you didn't. And in general, the great people are the ones who do hard things, not the ones who avoid hard things. That's a fact of life. It will never change. So all I'm asking, you want to be a quiet quitter, fine. Don't come around later complaining about your lack of success. Don't become envious of the people more successful than you. You wanted to quiet quit, okay? You wanted to put in less effort. You aimed low and you got what you wanted. You have no right to resent people who aimed higher than you. Third and final point, related to the first 2 points. I am not suggesting that you should stay forever in a job you hate, pouring yourself into it year after miserable year. If you hate your job and you feel unfulfilled by it, if you feel that it's not making use of your talents, if you think it's a dead end, etc., then go chase something better. If you just don't want to work at all, then you're a lazy, overgrown child. And as long as you maintain that attitude, you're destined, as previously discussed, to be a mediocre failure and a disgrace and an embarrassment to your family and everyone who knows you. But if you're willing to work and yet you feel that your work right now is wasted or futile or pointless, then go and pursue a new opportunity. And yeah, you can make excuses. Oh, I can't do that. I can't do it for all these. You can make excuses all you want. I can't do it. It's a risk. If I do that, it won't work out. If I got to get this, I have a family. Those are excuses. And I mean, they might even be valid. But once again, the people who do great things are not focused on the excuses, or they act in spite of them. Staying at your job and trying to do the bare minimum is the coward's way out. That's what the guy in Office Space discovered. By the end of the film, he had left the office world completely, found happiness as a construction worker. He found work that was meaningful to him. And that's what you should do. Because that's professional success, right? There isn't a certain salary you have to reach in order to be successful professionally. What matters is whether you're doing work that is meaningful to you and which utilizes your talents, skills, and efforts. That's success. And it's a lot better than being a lazy bum, also known as a quiet quitter. And that's why quiet quitting as a concept, and especially also just as a label, is canceled. Well, before you go, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell. And while you're at it, if you want to go watch or listen to my full show, head to dailywire.com and subscribe. You can also catch my show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. So go check it out now. I demand it. Your compliance is somewhat appreciated.